Hi friends, we are discussing electromagnetic waves. In the previous session, we looked at Maxwell's equations with respect to electromagnetic waves. Now, in that series, now we shall try to understand another important theoretical concept, something known as Poynting theorem. Now, what this theorem basically talks about, we shall try to understand. First of all, you just need to consider an electromagnetic wave. And also imagine that this is traveling along x-axis, say. When an electromagnetic wave is traveling, you definitely will have electric field E and magnetic field. Both these fields are naturally acting. Let us suppose these two fields confine themselves in two different transmission planes. So along E is along y-axis and H is along z-axis. So three-dimensional plane we are taking. We are assuming the propagation of an electromagnetic wave along the x-axis. The corresponding electric field and magnetic field are confining themselves along the transmission planes y and z. So if we want to find the propagation of this wave because of these two fields, propagation will be along direction of propagation vector. These two are mutually perpendicular fields. So what could be the propagation vector for this E cross H? So E cross H is the propagation vector giving the direction in which the wave is propagating. Now, for this equation, we take the divergence. If you take the divergence of this is naturally del dot E cross H. What is del dot E cross H? As per divergence norms, it will be H dot del cross E minus E dot del cross H. This is the expansion of del dot E cross H. It is H into del cross E minus E into del cross H. And already, therefore, we have seen earlier in Maxwell's equation, we know through Maxwell's equation, del cross E is obtained as minus dou B by dou T and del cross H is obtained as dou D by dou T in free space. I have explained this in the last session with respect to displacement current. Now when you substitute this, now you will have in this equation, you will get it as when you put these equations, taking minus common out, minus of E into dou D by dou T plus H into dou B by dou T. Call this as equation 1 or 2, whatever you want. But also we know that displacement D, displacement current, is epsilon E and field value is mu naught H. So you can just call this as equation 2. Now substitute these values from equation 2 in equation 1. We shall see what we will get. That is putting these values of D and B here for these places. What we will get is minus of epsilon naught into E into dou E by dou T plus mu naught H into dou H by dou T. Just multiply by half on either side, like 2 by 2 I will be using to multiply this. So by multiplying the entire expression by 2 by 2, this I can write it as, this is an adjustment to derive an equation. Suppose minus half into epsilon naught. To eliminate this, I will write as 2e. This one has become 2e and I took common one half outside. So it makes the same, into dou E by dou T plus the second expression. Again I am multiplying by half. Half into mu naught is as it is. Instead of H here, I use 2H. Got it? And rest is okay. Dou H by dou T. This is the expression. Okay. Now by doing like this value will become minus, you can take common out, half into epsilon naught into dou of E square by dou T plus half into mu naught into dou of H square by dou T. This I can modify like this. Now you take dou by dou T outside, minus of dou by dou T into half epsilon naught E square plus half mu naught H square. Call this as equation 3. Understood? Now, because the surface S bounds a volume V, we can integrate this equation over the volume V. So therefore, because the surface S bounds a volume V, we integrate equation 20 over the volume V. Then the surface is bounded by volume V. Therefore, we are integrating this. By integrating this equation, what is the left hand side of this equation? This equation, left hand side is this one. These values are substituted here only, na? So therefore, this we will take. That is del dot E cross H is finally, we got it as minus dou by dou T of this one. So we'll integrate on either side. Both sides, what we will get? We will get it as integral V of del dot E cross H. That is the left hand side. That is equal to, take the common thing out from this, and rest you can integrate. So minus dou by dou t of integral V of rest of the thing, that is half epsilon naught E square plus half mu naught H square dV. That is the expression. So I have just integrated the above equation. Maybe you call it as equation 4. Now on this, we will apply the divergence theorem to this equation. So therefore, applying the divergence theorem to equation 4, we get. So by applying divergence theorem to this equation, what we will get? Divergence theorem talks about the surface integral. Na? So therefore, it is surface integral of E cross H dot ds is equal to minus dou by dou t of volume integral of 1 by 2 epsilon naught E square plus 1 by 2 mu naught H square into dV. So for this, we applied the divergence theorem to get this value. Suppose you call this as equation 5. Look at the right hand side of equation 5. It is the sum of energies. It is like half mv square. Like kinetic energies, half of something plus half of something. It is like this. So it looks like sum of energies of both electric and magnetic fields. Got the idea why we have introduced the term half into the picture now? So it looks like energies. Recollect the kinetic energy half mv square. Now it looks like this. This is electrical energy, this is magnetic energy. So therefore, if you look at RHS of equation 5 is, you are adding this. So therefore, sum of, what we are adding? Sum of energies of electric and magnetic fields. Electric and magnetic fields. So therefore, the moment you get it as sum of energies of both electric and magnetic fields, it represents the amount of energy transferred over the entire volume in 1 second. That is rate of flow of energy. So this implies the amount of energy transferred over the volume V in 1 second or unit time. Amount of energy transferred over the volume in unit time or 1 second is nothing but rate of flow of energy. Is it not? I'm just recapping. The right hand side term, if you see, this is looking like kinetic energy equation. Like half of something into half of something. So this is electrical energy, this is magnetic energy. So the whole looks like the second term of the right hand side expression. It is sum of energies of electric as well as magnetic fields. That is the total amount of energy transferred over the volume in unit time or unit interval of time, second. That is nothing but rate of flow of energy. That is what I mean. That is rate of flow of energy over the volume. Now all this is equal to what? Look at the left side. Now this we talked about, rate of flow of energy. All this is equal to what? This one. So if you see the vector E cross H, it's called Poynting vector, of course. Therefore we call it as simply P. This E cross H in this equation, it represents the amount of field energy passing through unit area of surface in that time, normal to the direction of the flow of energy. So if you see the left hand side, the term E cross H refers to what? This is entire thing refers to sum of energy, rate of flow of energy per unit time. The left hand side is nothing but the amount of field energy passing through the unit of surface in unit time, normal to the direction of flow of energy. Now if you see the left hand side, what we got? Right hand side we already got it as rate of flow of energy over the volume. Left hand side, if you see the term, it is E cross H. Right? Just for a second, forget about this. E cross H is representing what? It is the amount of field energy passing through a unit area of surface in unit time, acting normal to the direction of flow of energy. So left hand side you have amount of field energy passing through the unit area of surface in unit time. Whereas right hand side you have rate of flow of energy over the volume. Therefore, when you are equating these two, you can combine these two and make a statement saying that the amount of energy, field energy passing through a unit area of surface in unit time, acting normal to the direction of flow of energy, is equal to rate of flow of energy over the volume. This is the statement of Poynting theorem, and the left hand side E cross H, if you call it as P, it is called a Poynting vector. Right? This is the statement of Poynting theorem, and this term is what is known as E cross H vector is known as Poynting vector. This is about Poynting vector. Well, having understood the Poynting theorem, let us understand and see the propagation of electromagnetic wave in a non-conducting medium. So far we are talking about conducting medium. In the case of a non-conducting medium, assume that the medium is perfectly non-conducting. It is homogeneous, the medium is isotropic, and the medium has permeability as well as permittivity. So these are the characteristics of the medium through which an electromagnetic wave is propagating. In that case, whatever Maxwell equations we have earlier, they all remain unchanged except, so in this situation, if you consider the Maxwell's equations, which we have seen last time, almost all of them are unchanged except wherever you have, there is a replacement. If you have epsilon naught, you should replace it with epsilon, and wherever you have mu naught, you should replace with mu. Because earlier we have taken conducting medium. So a free space area you are taking a medium, therefore you write the medium terms. So all the Maxwell's equations earlier what we have seen, they almost remain unchanged except the replacement of epsilon naught with epsilon and mu naught with mu. That is the only such situation. So in such a situation, for this type of a medium we are considering, naturally the field will be mu h and d will be epsilon e. This is the basic equation on which we start the argument. Instead of mu naught you will have mu, instead of epsilon naught you will have epsilon. Now if all the field vectors of the electromagnetic wave have the same magnitude at all points of any plane perpendicular to the direction of wave propagation, like an electromagnetic wave, it is called a plane wave. Again I am repeating, what is called a plane wave? If all the field vectors of electromagnetic wave, what are the field vectors of electromagnetic wave? E and H only, na? Electric vector and magnetic vector. So when both the vectors of electromagnetic wave have the same magnitude at all points of any plane perpendicular to the direction of the wave propagation, such as electromagnetic wave, it is called a plane wave. So the time variation of the field vectors of the wave, that will obey the harmonic law with a certain constant frequency. They are called monochromatic waves. What are monochromatic waves? Monochromatic means the time variation of the field vectors of the wave which are obeying the harmonic law with a certain constant frequency, they are called monochromatic waves. So therefore, if you take a plane electromagnetic wave, now we have defined two things. One is a plane magnetic wave and one is monochromatic wave. So for a plane electromagnetic wave propagating along the z-axis, now we can represent the field vectors as if it is passing through along the z-axis. So electric field vector along the z-axis with a time variance, it is represented field vector as E of z into e power I omega t. Similarly, B of z comma t is equal to B of z into e power I omega t. This is the frequency. Now call this as equation 2. So for these fields, there is constant phase surface that always coincides with the surface of the constant amplitudes. So therefore, they are called homogeneous. So in the assumptions we have already taken, they are homogeneous. If you see the medium, perfectly non-conducting, homogeneous. Homogeneous basically means there is a constant phase relationship that is coinciding with the constant amplitudes. Therefore, they are called, because the constant phase surface is coinciding with the surface of constant amplitude, they are called homogeneous electromagnetic waves. So we can derive the equations for such field vectors from potentials directly from the field vectors. So now let us consider a homogeneous unbound medium for which both epsilon and mu are permittivity and permeability respectively. Then the electrical conductivity sigma is 0. This is the current density equation, of course, from this. And from this, Maxwell equation can be written as del cross B is equal to mu E by mu epsilon into dou E by dt, dou T, equation 3. And del cross E is equal to minus dou B by dou T, equation 4. This is how Maxwell's equations get modified in the case of a perfectly non-conducting medium. Now differentiate this equation with respect to T. So differentiating this equation 3 with respect to equation 3 with respect to T, what we will get? Dou by dou T of del cross B will become dou by dou T of mu epsilon into dou E by dou T. That is, del cross dou B by dou T is equal to mu E into dou square E by dou T square. So dou E by dou T value, you can substitute this. So substituting for dou E by dou T from equation 4, what we will get? Del cross minus del cross E is equal to mu epsilon into dou square E by dou T square. That is minus del cross E is equal to mu epsilon square dou square E by dou T square. Call it as equation 5. Here we have to recollect a property. So what property we have? We have the property of the operator del. What is the property? Del cross E is nothing but del dot E minus del square E. Call it as equation 6. So substituting this equation 6 in 5. So using equation 6 in equation 5, what we will get? What we will get is del into del dot E plus del square E is equal to mu epsilon square into dou square E by dou T square. Call it as equation 7. Because there are no free charges, we can write del dot E equal to 0 in this equation. So, as there are no free charges, we can write del dot E is equal to 0 in equation 7. Then, therefore, del square E minus mu epsilon into dou square E by dou T square is equal to 0. Call this as equation 8. So similarly for field vector we can get, field vector B also we can get. So this is for electrical vector. Similarly for magnetic vector, similar equation what we will get, we can get as del square B, instead of E you will have B, minus mu epsilon E into dou square E by dou T square is equal to 0. This is equation 9. So these are the field vectors for both electric as well as magnetic fields, named as equation 8 and 9. Now, take these two equations, what we named as 8 and 9, and compare these equations with the simple harmonic motion of the type. This is the wave equation. d square y by dt square by minus mu y, standard equation of a simple harmonic motion wave. Then you will have velocity of propagation coming here as 1 by square root of mu. That means these field vectors are satisfying the wave equation in which propagation velocity, remember propagation velocity is represented as CL or velocity C, is given as CL or C is given as 1 by square root of mu epsilon naught. In this case, if it is mu epsilon. This is the propagation velocity of these field vectors satisfying this equation. So that means the propagation is also harmonics. That means it is non-conducting medium, perfectly non-conducting medium. The medium is homogeneous and also medium is allowing harmonic function, harmonic propagation also. This is about electromagnetic wave propagation in the fields. So far under electromagnetic waves we have seen divergence of a field, curl of a field, Stokes theorem and its approach, followed by Gauss theorem for divergence, and then modification of all the laws by Maxwell into various equations, Maxwell equations. So all the Gauss law for electricity, Gauss law for magnetism, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, Ampere's law for Ampere's law, all these things, both in integral and differential forms we have seen. Then we have seen the Poynting theorem, then followed by, we concluded that with electromagnetic wave propagation in a non-conducting way. So these basics are very much essential to understand the propagation, communication. So for further discussion, this background is very much essential. In the next session, we shall see something called waveguide or optical fiber medium. So that is the agenda for next session. Therefore, it is better for each of the students to be familiar with all these equations. These equations can become familiar only when we practice them. Just you don't need to get them by heart. It's a simple mathematical derivation. you should be familiar with the basic differentiation part and basic integration part of mathematics. That helps you to arrive at these equations. So kindly practice these equations. With this background, we'll try to understand electromagnetic wave propagation further and then optical fiber process.